Hello everybody, welcome to Wonky, where I talk about electronic music, both new and old. And it's time for another Top 10 list. Alright, the Chemical Brothers, finishing off a discography review that's been a long time coming. These guys have obviously meant a lot to me, having been one of many bands and artists I really got into during my high school years. And while I've had my off and on periods with them, I can't deny they have made a huge impact on the whole genre, and I know lots of other people who have been watching my reviews, and I know the Chemicals mean just as much, if not more, to them than they do to me. So, without any further ado, disclaimers. This is just my opinion, and you can feel free to disagree with it. This list is not based off of popularity or anything like that. It's just which tracks mean the most to me personally. Basically, everyone watching right now is going to have a different personal list from the one I'm about to present to you all, so just keep in mind I am one guy. And of course, this list is not necessarily final, only reflects how I feel at the moment of editing the video, and might not how I feel in, say, 2018. So now that we're through all that, let's get into the top 10 best Chemical Brothers songs. Number 10. Hey Boy, Hey Girl from Surrender. Decided to start this list out with an obvious choice. This was, of course, the big single from Surrender that basically everyone already loves. It's not a track that I have a particular amount of things to say about, and really nothing I haven't already said in my Surrender review. It's just a really catchy track with a really catchy sample and fantastic dance grooves. I mean, sure, the Chemicals have no shortage of tracks a lot like it, but that doesn't take away from the power of this old track, cementing these guys as superstar DJs. Here we go! Number 9. Galvanize from Push the Button.
Initiative to move, so I make it harder. Don't hold back. If you think about it, so many people do be cool and looks.
And here we have another obvious choice, being the explosive opener to my favorite Chemicals album, the current most popular Chemicals track to date overall, and the track I always use whenever I do the In Brief segment in my reviews. It's a track that grabs your attention like few others do, just slamming you in the face with all its sounds and getting you geared up to listen to what I believe to be the Chemicals' strongest set of tracks to date. Now, of course, I don't think it's the strongest album opener the Chemicals have ever done. In fact, I think it's only the second best of theirs done in collaboration with Q-Tip. Spoilers for later in the list. But few artists out there can attest to having attention-grabbing openers on the same level as Galvanize, and this list wouldn't feel complete without it. Number 8. Close Your Eyes from Push the Button. Okay then, if there is going to be any controversial pick on this list, it will be this one. I know not everyone loves Push the Button as much as I do. In fact, I saw a comment singling this particular track out as their least favorite by the Chemicals ever. And you know what? That's fine. I'm sure there are people who watching this who have Do It Again in their lists, and that's fine too. But this is still my list, and this is still one of my absolute favorite tracks from Push the Button. I love the more down-tempo focus and its more emotional nature. I love all the bell noises in that bridge section. I just love every second of this track. The Chemicals' mellower side can be kinda hit and miss, but this is definitely my favorite of their mellower material. I don't care if I'm the only person here with this on their list, but I'm not taking it back. I love the shit out of this track, and that's final. Number 7. Come With Us from Come With Us. Going back to more obvious choices, let's talk about my favorite first track on any Chemicals album. Again, I think I kind of covered this one pretty well already in my review, but I love the amazing dramatic build-ups and the absolutely killer payoff with this ascending and descending keyboards. I love the UFO theme that also kind of sort of carries over to the rest of the album. I I don't really know what else to say, it's just an absolute blast. Or blast off if you like. Number 6. Go from Born in the Echoes.
When everything used to hurt, it goes. No time to rest.
So you know how Galvanize is only the second best Q-Tip Chemicals collaboration? I think when I said that everyone already knew this was going to show up on the list. There was definitely a part of me going into this discography review half expecting this to be the only track on Born in the Echoes to get any accolades since it's been such a long time since I'd really given it my full attention. But surprisingly, I think that album held up a lot better than I'd expected over the past 2 years, even to the point of me standing by that 8.3 rating. Despite me giving out 8s like nobody's business back in the day. Really not a bad track on that thing. I mean, just super solid and a ton of noisy fun from front to back. But one thing that I kinda already knew from the get-go is that this track was guaranteed to make the list, and is still the best track from that album. And that's about it, really. It's only here to make you, it's only here to make you, it's only here to make you. Next one. Number 5. The Boxer from Push the Button. Don't worry, this is the last track from Push the Button on this list, at least until the honorable mentions. I think I love that album more for its replay value and consistency than for any particular standout track. I mean, I don't like the idea of picking just one favorite from that album, since all those tracks are so different and all great in their own ways, but if I absolutely had to pick one, I'm gonna have to go with this one. I really don't know what it is about this track that makes it so ridiculously addicting, but it's a track that easily gets me pumped up and singing along with it and grooving along with its vaguely 60s-esque atmosphere, I guess. Just love this song, and nothing else really to say about it that I haven't already. Number 4. We Are the Night from We Are the Night.
We are the night side, we are the bright eyes, we are the night side, we are...
So, this ended up a lot higher on the list than I expected. As some people know, this is kind of my least favorite Chemical Brothers album. Pretty inconsistent album that even a lot of the better tracks, with 2 exceptions, aren't really representative of the Chemicals' best work in my opinion. And this is one of the exceptions. The other you'll see in the honorable mentions, but whatever. This track is basically what you get when you combine the emotional power and, like, bell reliance of Close Your Eyes with the insane height, power, and explosiveness of Come With Us, and the result is probably the best opener track to a Chemicals album to date for me. Not best first track, like We Are the Night had an intro called No Path to Follow that is... yes. But yeah, I love the crap out of this track. I always have since first hearing the album, and I just kinda wish the rest of the album was capable of hitting the same heights. Number 3. Swoon from Further. And now we enter into the potentially amazing album endings category. Swoon isn't a track that really has much to it, mainly focused on just the same chord progression and a blast of clipping audio, but it's an absolutely killer chord progression, and the continually ascending synth effects really make this track feels like it's blasting you off into space. It also really hits upon that sort of post-rock emotional high. If they wanted to, they could have just ended the Further album on track 6 here and it would have been perfect. The 2 remaining tracks on this album, though, are still great, so I can't get too mad at it, but this was still instantly my favorite on the album when I first started in high school, and now it's risen up all the way to 3rd favorite Chemicals track overall now. Number 2. The Sunshine Underground from Surrender. Part 2 of the potentially amazing album endings category. This was the literal centerpiece of the Surrender album that honestly should have just been its ending. And it's got so much going on. It starts out slow and utilizes a lot of psychedelic samples and sounds, sound like some kind of hyped up hippie anthem at first, but then slowly builds up and gets progressively more epic as it goes on, going in double time later, containing a section purely out of ascending synths and paying off on every amazing build-up and delivering on amazing emotional power at the same time. To be honest, it's only at number 2 because for whatever reason this track wasn't in super heavy rotation in my high school days, and it wasn't until recently that I really got to appreciate how freaking amazing it was. Before I thought it was just kind of a less memorable clone of my number 1 pick. And the outro's a little weaker than that one too. I think people might be able to figure out what that number 1 is just by that description, but we're not quite ready for that because before I get into my number 1, it's time for honorable mentions. Leave Home from Exit Planet Dust. Where Do I Begin from Dig Your Own Hole.
Where do I start? Where do I begin? Where do
Let Forever Be from Surrender. Star Guitar from Come With Us. Left, Right from Push the Button.
All my soldiers march with me. I thought I told you, this is the story of
A Modern Midnight Conversation from We Are the Night. Escape Velocity from Further. Wide Open from Born in the Echoes. One Too Many Mornings from Exit Planet Dust. Electrobank from Dig Your Own Hole. Got Glint from Surrender. Denmark from Come With Us. Alive Alone from Exit Planet Dust. Surface to Air from Push the Button. Alright, that's enough of that. Now let's get into number 1. The Private Psychedelic Reel from Dig Your Own Hole. So, if you thought The Sunshine Underground was a magnum opus, an amazing journey of fantastic build-offs and payoffs, oh man, The Private Freaking Psychedelic Reel is a track that basically melts my face off with its awesomeness every single time I hear it. It demands to be played at high volume, and why bother with your puny human concepts of build-ups and payoffs? Private Psychedelic Reel is almost constantly a build-up and a payoff simultaneously. It has nowhere to go but up. And why bother with such categories as potentially amazing album endings when that potential is fulfilled? Dig Your Own Hole would not be nearly in as high regard as I currently hold it if this were not the final track. A track like this might rival even BT's Good Morning Kaya and Orbital's Out There Somewhere as among the greatest album endings of all time for me. I just have nothing but gushing for this 9-minute masterpiece. A huge favorite in high school and a huge favorite now. I felt there was no more fitting choice for the position of Best Chemical Brothers track than this one. And that's it. But of course, this is just my opinion. You can feel free to disagree with it. But I'd like to hear your thoughts and probably other lists, so leave the comments in the comment thing down there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all for today. See you next time.